Helen here. Welcome to another Florasphere Colouring In video tutorial. I'm so glad that you're joining me on the Florasphere channel. It's a place that I can share all the things that I love about plants and flowers and nature and the colouring in things that I've been creating, the books and the sheets that are all connected with my love of ethnobotany, with gardening and everything plants, especially flowers. And this is one of the Florasphere Colouring In videos, and these tutorials that I've been sharing are building into a little library of references where you can learn some technical things, you can learn some meditative different aspects to colouring in and to creativity in general, but always with a basis and a good foundation in the plant world. So if you like plants and flowers and gardening, this is the place for you with your colouring in. Now this week I'm a crazy recycler, crazy mad enthusiastic recycler, and I'm also an artist, but I'm also a crafter. And perhaps you're a bit like me, or you know somebody who is like me and you can raid their stash and has lots of embellishments and leftovers from other craft projects, scrapbooking, card making, sewing, all those sorts of things, ribbons, all this. I'm going to start showing you over the weeks how to use embellishments in your colouring in, but not just how to sort of throw it into your colouring in books and make pretty designs. I'm going to show you how to use embellishments to assist you in design and in probably connecting a little bit deeper with some of the meditation and meditative aspects of colouring in, and definitely how to make your art really pop and really zing if that's an aspect you're looking for as well. This week I'm going to show you how to choose colour palettes based on embellishments, and we're going to look at embellishment and we're going to emulate the colour palette and use that as a starting off point, so it's a reference point. And another one we're going to do is actually incorporating different colours that are reminiscent of the actual subject of an embellishment as well. So I'm looking forward to creating and colouring in with you. So grab your colouring in books and sheets, your pencils, markers, whatever it is, go raid that stash of craft embellishments and join me in a minute for this week's first tutorial on using embellishments in colouring in books. Hello, hopefully now you've found yourself a nice little collection of treasures from your art and craft stash. If you don't have one, ask friends and family, and also have a look at discount and $2 shops. You can find lots of lovely things there. Places like charity stores often have sections with old things like this, arts and crafts supplies, and also look at things like wrapping papers, cards, postcards, and even things in magazines and the flyers and leaflets that come in your letterbox. I use a lot of these beautiful textile flowers, and the petals that sort of fall off or aren't of any use are perfect for this type of work. Putting a little button in the middle of something like that, once it's sort of glued down, or we can use it dimensionally, there we go, makes a beautiful little embellishment for a scrapbooking page and also for a colouring in book page. That's like a bit of a slip there, wasn't it? Back to my scrapbooking days. Things like this, these three-dimensional embellishments, you could use if you're going to frame your colouring in book page and put it into a shadow box. That would be a beautiful thing to do. Now today I'm using my Florasphere Calm Australian Wildflower Colouring In book, and even though it's mine, so of course that's why I'm using it, but something, I created these because they're flora, plants and flowers, sphere, they're in circles, they're in mandalas, in kaleidoscope type patterns, but something that is created within, there's your little sneak peek, with spheres is a really fantastic thing to use because you'll have a natural centre. Even in pages like this, we've still got centres. So things that are colouring in books that mention mandalas, kaleidoscopes, spheres, of course, they're all really fantastic for this type of work. I left quite large sections at times in the middle of some of my designs that I drew because I thought it would be lovely for you to put words and your own quotes in places like this, perhaps photographs and images, and also to work in and draw in these sections. The other thing you want to look at with a colouring in book, of course, is a nice weight paper. Mine are 220 GSM, and being stitch bound will ensure that your book lies flat when you're working, and it's so much easier to take your sheets out as well. So as I said, you could just apply your stickers and embellishments wherever you like after you colour in, but let's use these to help us select colours. As I said, I got a lot of messages and emails asking me for more advice on colour selection, design selection, and so this is going to be really helpful for those of you who may be struggling a little bit. What you want to do, and a lot of fun for those who are taking the next steps as well. What you want to do is just find something that you are really attracted to, that you like. That's it. So don't think too hard about it. Do I like that? Don't worry about this design. Just grab whichever one. As I said to you before, in my book, I've got all the botanical names of all the flowers in the front, so you can look them up and create your colouring in pages exactly correct for botanical specimens, but you can also let your imagination run wild, which is what we're going to do now. If you don't have a colouring in book with a circular pattern, that's okay. Just place your embellishments somewhere that's focal. So if it's wherever it is, if it's a beautiful picture of a lovely girl sitting in a forest somewhere, or a fairy, or a beautiful cat, just stick it somewhere that makes sense to the picture. I'm using Prismacolor colouring in pencils today, but you can use any medium you like with this technique, of course. Now, I've anchored this with a bit of blue tack just so that we can see what's going on and I don't bump it all over the place while I'm having a chat with you. But what you want to do is get another piece of paper, and we're going to match up the colours that are in the embellishment with our medium. Now, we might not be able to get exact, and that's okay. Close as we can is all we need for this first exercise, because we're going to make the design match the embellishment. This is going to give you a bit of colour confidence. See, this one is quite bright compared to there, but I really don't have anything that is that close. And this is pretty close to that, but it still looks harmonious. So just as close as. That's sort of got a bit more green in it. And I've got this yellowy one, so let me see if I can find one that's a little bit more lemony. So it's moving away a little bit. This one will be way too bright, I'm sure, but you never know. That's it. It's not quite there, and yellows and yellowy greens can be hard. So what we can do is we can layer them. So I'm thinking that those two, yep, that gets pretty close. I'm pretty happy with that, to the feeling of that. So I'm going to decide to take this pencil with me. Hang on, where can we put them so we can see them? Here we go. I'm going to take this one on my little design journey. This one, this one, this one, and this one. And then I need that lighter pink. I think I already did select it. And I like that one. Okay. What's this guy doing here? Oh, yes. He looks pretty good too. So colours, you can do things like this, and colours that come in here and they're similar, you might want to use them at all. So don't be just restricted to exactly this, exactly that. If there's another colour alongside like another blue, and I did have, there we go, this one's slightly ever so darker than that one, and I thought that looked really good in with this mix as well. So you can have more than one colour that matches in with these. So that's my little palette there. So having a look at that, these are all inspired and similar to the colours that are in this embellishment. Now, of course, when you look at the lesson that I shared with you before, we could do contrasting, so I could get my colour wheel out and I could look at the contrasting colours and the split complementaries and all those sorts of different colour theory combinations we could use. But today I'm just going to match in with what's there already. So then colouring in, I'm just going to come around, and I've got the dreaded Prismacolor breakage. Oh, sorry, I've got a bit of callus on my hand and I'm really quite conscious of it at the moment, so sorry about that. Should put a nice big sticker on it. I do all my own gardening, so I do get a little bit, I get a bit injured at times. There we go. So coming in around here, and start to see that come to life. Because we're picking up that colour that's there already. Then there's that pink. There we go. And then this blue pops a little bit as opposed to the one that's in the centre. But can you see how it still works in as part of the family of what's happening there? Yeah. There we go. I find this really relaxing. It's like really focusing on what is here. And extending. So I've moved along quite a lot now, and as you can see, the anchor point of the embellishment has inspired the colouring in as I've moved along. You can, so just a little technique here of using two of the colours and blending them a little bit, and that gives another effect as well. So I'm using that pale blue and a bit of the inspired darker blue and blending them in. And you can do this quite easily with Prismacolors, of course. They're a wax-based pencil, and so they blend really, really well. Come in and blend a little bit there, just a little bit. So that shading effect there. Now, oh, oh, you broken leg, you. Okay. So I think that gives you the idea of what you can do with these embellishments, starting them off in a centre or in a focal point, selecting your colours and then using them to help select the rest of the colours for the design. As I said, this one is purely following what's already there. You may like to look at one of my other videos that talk about colour theory and do contrast as well, or play around with them. So in a second we'll have a look at being inspired by an art image or by a picture that we found in a book or a magazine. So let's look at using books, magazines, oracle cards, newspapers and the like as our place of finding colour inspiration. Obviously gardening magazines like the wonderful Gardening Australia will have, actually even the advertisements, if something pops out at you in the advertisements, you know, that could be a colour cue for you. This really popped out at me. Even these colours here, I like them, I was drawn towards them. So there's colour cues for you there. But obviously they're beautiful, they're beautiful stories. And even this, here we go, with the worms in the garden, all these colours here, be really good cues. You don't have to do, look at that, isn't that beautiful? Those colours there. So selecting those colours. So you don't have to necessarily do these flowers or these particular ones that are in books that you might have, but just following these colour cues. Even if you were colouring in, you know, a colouring in page of a mermaid, you could still take these cues. Beautiful. Look at this. Just selecting all of these lovely colours. They're beautiful. Okay, I am actually going to use an oracle card from one of my decks in this, and I'm using Florasphere Inspired, mostly because it's Sunflower Week, so I've selected a sunflower. And it's just really easy to use with my colouring in book, so it's a good little sample and example. I'm using Derwent's Ink Tints. I am probably not going to react them with water. You can do that to make them more intense, or ink tints they're called, that's right. You can make them more intense, but I'll probably just use them as a colouring in pencil to start with anyway. I've already done this. I've already gone through, hang on, I'll just make this go a little bit flat. I've already gone through and selected my colours. There we go. Oh, there are my other colours. Here we go. So the same process as before. Oh, can you see me? Yeah. Same process as before. On a piece of paper. Just matching those colours in with what's there. Things that I like, that I'm picking out there that I like. And I did like that blue in the sky, so I thought that was pretty similar. So these are the colours that I'm going to use, and the greens, of course. And there we go. Now I'm not making the flower. This is wattle, this one. It's not sunflower. But I'm still using the design cues here. And what I'm going to do, because I'm using the design and the colour cues, I like the way, and I might have seen this in a photograph or whatever my reference is, I like the fading, the way that they fade into each other. So I'm going to sort of emulate that a little bit with my colouring. There we go. And there's that green there. I could come in with the leaves, with that green. There we go. And that's picking it up. And the same thing, I could come in with the darker green and shade. Oops, a daisy. There we go. And the same thing, that I like those lines. I can't, oh, I'm losing my voice today. I've been talking a lot, doing lots of videos and things. There we go. So my cards are created in lino print, and they're painted in quite a naive fashion. Oh, it's a little glared out there. And so there are those thick textured marks that you find there in the paint, and I like that. So I'm trying to sort of emulate a little bit in the colouring in. There we go. Ink tints work really well for that, because even without the making them react with water, you're still going to get quite a vibrant effect there as well. Now these are wattle, but I just might make them orange instead. Okay, so that's that orange that I've picked up. I could have picked out a bit of a red there too. Okay, there we go. And then my blue, which I should have sharpened a bit more. Same thing. This is going to come in a bit darker. Hopefully you can see that. Yes. And then just lighter strokes in there as well, emulating this. I love that effect. It's not quite there sometimes. There at other times. There we go. There we go. I'll probably come in there with a. Ooh. There we go. There. Okay. And this is purely coming back some forwards and picking up those design cues from the image that's there already. So I'm not, with these kaleidoscope mandala type designs, often when I'm doing them, colouring them in myself, I'm not looking for necessarily for it to look like a picture, I suppose. So it's not sort of really narrative. It's not, I don't need to have all of the background blue because it's the sky. I'm actually making patterns. Sometimes I do. This, I'm purely just having fun with making patterns and picking up the design. So this is a leaf, but I might do an orange. As I said, I really want you to experiment and have fun and relax, because colouring in is about relaxing. And when you're doing colouring in that is based on pattern and design, kaleidoscopes, mandalas, repeating patterns, that's when you'll find the relaxation part really connects quite easily. So these are colours that are within this image here. So it's my little card. I can keep the card in the book. If you've got a picture from your magazine, you might want to keep it out as well and keep it with your colouring in book. So it just gives you a little bit of a reference while you're colouring in that sheet. I hope that helps a little bit with selecting colours and just finding reference points out there to build your colour confidence. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Florasphere. I really enjoy making these videos. They're all about flora, that's plants and flowers, their meanings, their usage, and their relationship with us. I love sharing the creative ones as well, because of course I'm an artist and a craftsperson, and that's really fantastic when I see people share and pick up on the things that I really love doing and they do it themselves as well. If you want to interact with me and other people who love Florasphere, you can hop along to the Facebook page, www.facebook.com/Florasphere. If you like the page and follow the page, you'll never miss anything ever again. There's a newsletter as well that comes out weekly, and that has free colouring in sheets and free little collector cards. The ones that I show online are in low resolution. If you'd like to collect these and print them out, you can get them in my newsletter, and they're available through the Facebook page. Till next time, may nature always bless you, but more importantly, may you always be a blessing to nature. Bye.